here we are in the bottom left, in the orange. The man for Prep Esports, Han Mano. And in the upper right, in the teal, the man who does not quite know what his opponent is doing to him just yet. He is, for Team Starcom, Ashbringer. Because looky on big maps. Big maps are good for big, long macro games where everyone gets to take 7 bases, have a lot of fun, and, you know, in general, be kind of ridiculous. This game, though, that is not what Han Mano is doing, and this is the other way that one can choose to play big, expansive macro maps. You proxy something, and in this case, it's going to be Proxy Marauder here. So there are a couple different ways you can take this opening. First and foremost, you can say, okay, well, it's just Proxy Marauders, and I'm doing a normal opening at home. A little bit delayed, but a somewhat normal opening. The other one is to rally units across the map from the Marine barracks and rally Marauders out of the other barracks. And then just have this annoying 2 racks, but not really, because there's only one is proxied, Marine Marauder timing that really cuts through Protoss even better than a standard build. And that is exactly what we see here. A couple SCVs are going to be brought over as well, whether for bunkers or just as a little bit of HP. We're going to have to find out. But the first Marauder is trundling, waddling its way on over. And we're going to have to see what exactly this is going to be able to get done. Ashbringer, for his part, no tech on the way just yet. Just single gates, single cyber core, and what do we have? Like 1 stalker to his name, because he's going for an expand, and yes, he will eventually, he'll get a robo. But for now, 2 Marines and 2 Marauders is a terrifying thing to deal with, especially with these SCVs in front to tank. Now, of course, the shield battery here is a problem, and then Han Mano is just going to look to target this one down ASAP. First Marauder is not going to go down. Nice micro there. Second Marauder going down, though, and yeah, it's going to be both Marauders are dead. The bunker will not, most likely, not be allowed to complete, but more and more Marauders, they're rallying on over. More and more Marines rallying over as well. And at first, it didn't look great. You know, losing those Marauders like that, losing the Marines. But now the bunker's up. The shield battery and the natural will not be allowed to complete. And now we're going to see this pylon goes down as well, which means no more additional shield batteries. Of course, with a concussive shell being done, a tag stalker is effectively a dead stalker. So this natural is absolutely is forced to go down. There is... Oh. I apologize. I hit the wrong button. Trying to save highlight. Instead, I did the player intro thing again. Oops. Anyway. This natural is pretty much forfeit. The Marauders here, especially with a +1 range for being in the bunker, just really making it so that Ashbringer cannot get anywhere near close. The army is continuing to rally, but maybe when you get to a second Immortal, and maybe that's when Ashbringer is going to be able to make this hold happen, but I almost feel like a Warp Prism would be better here. It builds just a little bit faster, and I mean, it massively increases the longevity of these units from Ashbringer. But of course, you know, on the flip side, there are submarines that can maybe shoot things down, and B, it doesn't add DPS. It just keeps the units you have alive longer. And that doesn't really help Ashbringer. I mean, it does. It really does. But it's not the most important thing. So now this barracks, it's done its job. It has allowed for the death of the base. And of course, Han Mano behind this, he does have a command center on the way. It's slow, sure, but it's not really slow. It's just slow in the context of... Oh, like it looks like the SCVs were set to auto repair. So as this, the barracks took minimal damage from the sentry, says, ah, yes, I got to repair. Oh no, Immortals, run away. And it looks like Ashbringer's response to this is really just going to be 3-gate Immortal. You get 2 Immortals out, get a Warp Prism out behind that, run Stalkers across the map. Well, first you got to bust the bunker, but run stalkers across the map, have warpins, and just say, well, you know, if you're trying to expand Hanmano, if you're trying to do anything other than die, it's going to cause some problems. But immediately, yeah, Hanmano understands what's happening here. We got a Viking on the way. And yeah, he's going to run his army home too. He understands exactly how he has to deal with this. And that's the really big thing. Okay, so now we got a double immortal drop, and I kind of thought this was going to be 3-gate pressure, you know, or all in, whatever you want to call it. Ashbringer has lost his natural, but making use of these 3 gates to go do something. But that's actually not, I mean, we see the immortal and we see the double immortal robo, which does mean that, of course, they one-shot SCVs as they do pop out. Oh, I'm sorry, no, they don't. They one-shot the other set of workers. They're not doing nearly as much here, but they're still killing a lot of SCVs, and Viking Raven means that we're probably gonna have to see a recall very soon, because otherwise, I mean, this is just 2 free immortals, and that's not what you want to see. Oh God, Ashbringer got to be very careful. He's just gonna lose 2 immortals. Okay, he's gonna lose 1 immortal. He's gonna lose a warp prism, but he's just recalling the air, man. That was not the play. I honestly very much expected him to just recall the moment the Viking showed up, the moment he started taking some damage. But now Ashbringer, he's not down unstoppably in army supply, but I mean, look at 6 of this army supply is in, or whatever, 8 army supply, however much a Colossus is stuck in the robo. It's not able to fight, not for a while. Maybe it's gonna pop out. It actually should pop out right as this push happens, but you know, no extended thermal lance, and it's just gonna be disabled immediately. Anyways, this is a disastrous game for Ashbringer, even after he looked like he had the proper fixings for a good hold. But just losing that immortal, losing the warp prism, losing that natural, all of these things meant that, well, Hanmano had a really great opener and has done a great job of snowballing that into a, well, a rather nice game that he's got for himself here. And oh, this is the hard push too. We got bunkers coming down. You love to see it. Although I like the addition, the hallucinated Colossus is nice. It does mean that maybe just a little bit we will see some of these Vikings waste their shots on something that's not real. And if he's really lucky, well, the fake Colossus is the one that gets disabled. But I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen here. I think Hanmano is pretty wise to that. Now the bunkers are done, which means this army can now start to leapfrog even further forward to get tanks sieged further and further up. And of course, vision on this probe line means that eventually Ashbringer's going to have to take a fight. Oh, he got it! He disabled the fake Colossus. That is brilliant there for Hanmano, or excuse me, for Ashbringer, but I don't know that it's going to be enough. There is one more Colossus on the field. The Zealots, slow Zealots getting on top of some of these tanks, but I mean, the Marauders are just slowing them all down in the bunkers. But even still, the 2 real Colossus, they remain. Ashbringer doesn't have the hold here, and not by a long shot, not yet. But, oh man, what a cool move. It's not going to be enough. GG, but man, if that did make me happy. Well played there, Ashbringer. And there we have it. Game 1 goes to Hanmano. Okay. So now it's going to be game number 2 here. Curious Minds, a much smaller map. A map that is arguably, actually not even arguably, a map that is more Terran favored. Well, actually, I don't know. Because on the one hand, the early game, you have really nice rush distance for the Terran. But of course, as the game goes late, the third and fourth, they're kind of really split apart. And that does make it a little bit harder for the Terran to defend, again, as the game does go later. But for now, folks, we have game number 2 here. And for Prep Esports, in the bottom right, the orange Terran player, Hanmano. And in the upper left, in the teal, he's down 1, looking to tie things up for Team Starcom, Ashbringer. So Curious Minds, again, it's a shorter map. It's not, well, actually, yeah, it's certainly not as short as Beckett. I actually don't remember what the rush distance is. Shame on Caster, shame. But it's shorter, all right? And it does have these really wide open base positions. Fourth base, a little less so, but still fairly wide open, especially once you knock these rocks down. The third base, pretty wide open as well, which makes Colossus holds a little bit more difficult. So I would not be surprised to see some sort of Stargate play coming on in. The SCV, the bro, auto-repairing his damaged SCV just to make sure that he's okay. And then it's like, okay, well, I might as well get a base. Hello there, Blitzed. How's it going? Hope you're having a, what's the term, splendiferous day? Okay, so, well, no Stargate. It's going to be a Robo Opener, Robo Twilight, probably. So, it's going to be a Blink Opener, really, from Ashbringer is what this means. And he looks like he wants to get somewhat aggressive with his early couple units. And we know that, of course, because Shield Battery in the main means that Reapers have 0 chance of getting damage done. Banshees as well for the most part, although a Banshee can kill a probe in like 5 or 6 hits. So, still significant help. But of course, Hanmano's not running across the map with Reapers. He has gone for he's gone for a 2-1-1 here in, where's the tech lab going down? Sorry, yeah, 3 barracks play, my bad. He's gonna go for 3 barracks play in this game, but this is a slightly different version of the 3 barracks play, where you see Bjorn do this most of the time, and he goes 3 barracks, he gets 4 Marines at a time, get 2 or 3 Marauders for the actual push, and then runs across the map with like 20 units. And that's how he makes this push happen. His factory is going to be much later. His starport is going to be later. But Hanmano is actually kind of leaning into this Hellion idea. He's building them 2 by 2, and that is not something you usually see. It's also really interesting here that we see Ashbringer going for Colossus first effectively. No Twilight at all. So now the Marines are going to look to stim on in, and Hellions as well, but I mean, there's a shield battery overcharge. It's not going to kill any workers for a while. So the Marines, they say, yeah, I'm going to try to gun down that shield battery. And now is when the probe damage can start to occur just a little bit. But I mean, there are 4 Stalkers here. There's just not quite enough DPS to really do the type of damage that Hanmano is looking for. And now 2 Hellions are going to find their way in again. But I mean, there are not that many injured probes. Sure, there are a couple. Nice body block there, by the way. Sure, there are a couple probes, but 7 do go down. Imagine what would have happened there if Hanmano had just maybe ran his Marines in and killed a couple Stalkers and killed the shield battery, and then ran in with 4 Hellions at once. Suddenly, 1 volley is just a line of dead probes. That's a lot more important. That's a lot easier. That's a lot more potential damage. I mean, 7 workers still did go down. 7 workers for the cost of 4 Hellions, 5 Marines. It evens out at the end of the day, but it could have been better. Well, certainly he got enough done that Hanmano is in a somewhat comfortable position. I believe he did pull ahead. I wish I had a worker total chart, like what you can get at the end of the game. He certainly did pull ahead at least a little bit against Ashbringer. But Ashbringer is playing a rather two-base defensive style anyways. I don't think he's going to take his third for too long. He's going to wait for maybe 2 Colossus to come out. And that does really help Hanmano's idea of this game. You know, he had to kill less to find value. You know, if he had pushed across and, you know, this was a 4-minute and 15-second third base or something, as a Protoss would, you know, want to do, 350, 415, whatever it is, suddenly, you know, killing 7 workers is less impactful. But if you do that and the Terran and the Protoss is on 2 bases trying to turtle up a little bit, suddenly that's a lot easier. As Hanmano, again, he is pulling the boys. He's got 3 tanks. He does not want to give Ashbringer any time to recover from the damage that happened. So Marines are here. SCVs are here. Tanks sieging up on the low ground as the SCVs get pulled. And first and foremost, that third base is not going to happen. So these tanks need to inch their way just a little bit forward, get into range where they can start knocking these shield batteries down, because that's what's really important. Oh, these tanks actually, they're taking double volleyed shots at these Colossus. Shield battery overcharge now has to get popped. The bio is going to look to stim on backwards, try to stay out of range of these Colossus as long as they can until the rest of the army is going to be able to get in range, until the chaff is gone. Shield battery overcharge keeping things alive, but it's only 1 Colossus that remains. Marines are stimming across the map here. Probes getting pulled, trying to defend, but the tanks, they're still there. The Colossus is falling, and Hanmano stimming to victory in this game number 2, finding a way into the natural, finding a way into the main base. And there is nothing that Ashbringer can do anymore. He's down to 7 army supply. It's a 1 last Colossus in a dream, but unfortunately, this is a game of waking. Hanmano, he takes game number 2. Okay, that means Hanmano. Let me find my tabs. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Rules, cool. Bracket. Zest got his walkover. He's playing someone from China, and 1-0'd him. I guess took the walkover. Ooh, Creator versus Classic. Oh, Why do I not have Classic on my friends list? Wow, that's a lot of notifications that I got on Discord that were nowhere relevant to what I'm doing right now. That's fun. But we're going to do Creative versus Classic next, because that is what is going to happen. I promise you, Classic is not going to lose to Simply Hunt. Or Simply Hunter? Simply Hunter. Man, I feel like you just recall there. You drop it in the main base where there's a bunch of IO, you lose your Warp Prism 100%. You lose probably 2 Immortals, although he only lost 1, really due to the fact that Marine couldn't quite get on top. So it looks like Classic just barely got into a game. That's unfortunate. Okay, so let's see. Nightmare 2-0 Chow. Who is Nightmare running up against?